The course I have created is called Crazy for Quadrilaterals. It is for third grade students. This is a geometry unit where students will be learning about triangles, angles, and quadrilaterals. My LMS that I have chosen is Google Classroom. I have chosen Google Classroom because students at my school district have a Google account, and they will also be using Google Classroom for other literacy activities throughout the school year, so it will not be a new feature or something new for them. Students will be given the class code of QA20YE4, and they will then be invited into the classroom. So to kind of take you through what students will be doing, here is the overview. My first discussion question was just that they could post any questions that they would like to throughout the unit. Students can provide feedback to help answer those questions. I have my welcome letter. This is more directed towards parents, so I will give parents the students' accounts and passwords, as well as the Google Classroom, so that they can help the students. Just because they're third graders, some students at home might need help, so the welcome letter will be sent home to parents as a hard copy, but I also have it within my Google Classroom. My icebreaker discussion question, the students will be using Padlet, is if you could be any kitchen utensil, anything found in the kitchen, what would you be and why? Once all students have completed that, then we will go on to our angles note sheet. This is a note sheet where students will be watching a video about the different types of angles and taking notes, and this will be done prior to the lesson done in the classroom. The students usually understand angles pretty well, so then we move on to the different types of triangles: isosceles, equilateral, acute, and right. The students will be doing the same thing. They'll be watching a YouTube video on the different types of triangles, filling out a note sheet, and then they will also be learning about it in the classroom. So this is kind of to get their knowledge kind of moving, to see what they understand and what they know beforehand. Their first assignment will be using Google Draw. Students will have to draw the three types of triangles. There is a rubric, and I have also screencasted how to do this, because this will be their first type of assessment for this unit. We are then going to be moving away from triangles and angles and moving on to the different types of quadrilaterals. So to kind of get the ice broken with that, if you could choose any shape to be, which shape would you choose and why? And students will be once again answering their questions in Padlet. From there, students will have a quadrilateral brainstorm sheet. So they've already heard of some of the quadrilaterals, such as a rhombus, square, rectangle, parallelogram, and quadrilateral. So just kind of getting them before the lesson done in the classroom, students will be brainstorming all the things that they know about rectangles, all the things they know about squares, and so on, to see what they know. They probably will not know a whole lot about a rhombus, trapezoid, parallelogram, or even a quadrilateral, but the obvious squares and rectangles they will have a good background knowledge on. From there, they will once again have another Google Draw assignment where they will be asked to draw the different types of quadrilaterals, and they will know what's expected of them from the Google Draw rubric. Both Google Draw assignments will be shown how to do in the classroom, just because this is their first time they'll ever be using Google Draw. From there, one of the discussion questions I would like them to do is choose a quadrilateral, and then what are the properties of the chosen quadrilateral. The students have been given a note sheet in class to help prove their answers, and just kind of lets them know, does it have four sides? Are all sides equal in length? Are opposite lines parallel? Does it have four angles, four right angles? So I want them to be able to identify all the properties of their chosen quadrilateral. The interactive geoboard is going to be optional, and this is going to be only for students that I have chosen. This is what my learning object was, and I will be using this during small group, and students can use this as well. This could take place of one of the Google Draw assessments. If I felt that students were kind of struggling, I would use this to kind of help them through learning the different types of triangles, angles, and quadrilaterals. From there, we have the quadrilateral assessment. It is a Google form. and students have to click all things that apply to each different types of quadrilaterals, and I have my YouTube screencast to go with it as well. And then the final assessment is their zoo design. They are going to be creating a zoo in Google Draw, and then there's a peer rubric. They will be kind of looking at each other's and grading each other's peer rubrics. So that is my Google Classroom. So to kind of reflect on what has gone on and how this whole creating the online course has gone, I would have to say that it went pretty well. And what did I find successful is this course has helped me beef up one of the units I already teach. I was teaching this unit last year, and I kept thinking about how technology would really amp up this unit. I am glad I was able to finally sit down and make this unit better. I'm looking forward to using bits and pieces of this unit next year. I think my students are going to benefit from using Google Draw and Google Forms. The screencasting portion will also be exciting for students since it is something I do not use often. I am excited to see how third graders use the discussion board, and I will use this discussion board to help teach digital citizenship to them as well. Things that were difficult. It was difficult for me to kind of get in the mindset of being an online teacher. I don't think that online or blended education is for me, and I'm not sure if what I created, if I will use it to its entirety. Triangles, angles, and quadrilaterals are all very new to third grade students, so they do not have any background knowledge on it. It was difficult to try to figure out ways to teach geometry through the computer. Things that were easy, it was easy for me to think of the different types of assessments and assignments. Since I was already kind of thinking about how I could make this unit better this past school year, I had a lot of ideas ready to go. All I had to do was create them. And how did you overcome any obstacles or roadblocks? I had a lot of conversations with coworkers. Luckily, 2 of my other third grade team members are also in this class, so I was able to talk to them about the unit I was creating. I find having conversations with colleagues one of the best ways to overcome obstacles.